Hello, we're back to doing Vampire Coteries of New York. I started this a little late because I was watching Fleabag. Do you know an Agathon? Do you know the notes? You find the mystery of Agathon's research tantalising enough to pay him a visit. You know what to expect when you return to the small bookstore serving as Agathon's haven. The cacophony of occult imagery assaults you from the book covers displayed on the window, but under the fake facade, there's something real. This time, the Buddhas and the Satanic Bible of the storefront seem almost funny, or perhaps you've just started to tune into the dry humour of these Tremere. Just as you're about to ring the doorbell, the door opens and Agathon storms out. You step aside just in time to avoid having him stumble into you. Lamar, what are you doing here? I came to help. Like last time. Okay, fine, you're right, follow me. As he turns to go, Agathon almost looks pleased that you're here. Agathon walks to his car with you in tow. It didn't occur to you last time, but it's a surprisingly pedestrian vehicle. An aging, mid-sized family sedan. You imagine what it would look like with a baby seat in the back. Opening the door on the driver's side, Agathon notices your look. Laugh all you want, but it's inconspicuous and practical. You sit in the car and Agathon starts driving in his usual careful style. At least you'll never be stopped by traffic cops. It seems Agathon is not interested in small talk. Well, if he's not interested in small talk, I'm not going to talk to him. You decided it's best to let Agathon drive in peace. Agathon is very comfortable driving in silence. You look out the window, wondering at the ordinary lives of the people you pass by. I love that. Suddenly, Agathon snaps you out of your reverie. Let me ask you something, Lamar. Did you enjoy the hunt? I assume he means looking for the woman that he's looking for. And I guess no. If I say yes, will he think I'm like trying to pry into his vampire-y like blood magics and stuff? But if I say no, is he going to think I'm not eager to help? No. No, I just can't get over the fact that I used to be one of these people, the prey. Oh, right, so he's asking about drinking humans. The prey a short time ago, even if it feels good in the moment, in the long run it doesn't. I know how that feels. Many kindred are suspicious of the Tremere, but I believe that we are on the verge of discovering something that will be a great boon to our kind. For a second, Agathon sounds so sincere that you take a look at him to make sure he isn't joking. It doesn't seem so. You exit Manhattan, over the Brooklyn Bridge, and soon reach the site of the nightclub that seems to be your destination. It's on the riverfront, a converted former warehouse. After Agathon parks the car, it's time for you to enter the nightclub. You glance at the Tremere, evaluating him. It's obviously that it's not his kind of place. It's not your kind of place. Not exactly. But you've probably been here and just forgotten it. For a bunch of perennially penniless art types, your friends were always good at travelling through every gutter in search of a high. There's a good chance the research notes are here. Then let's go. No, because we don't want to pry too much. Yeah, so we don't want to pry too much with research notes. I guess we could do either of these two. But if we do that, will he think we're questioning him? Oh, let's just go. Let's not waste any time. Excellent. There's a line into the club. It looks like a popular night. Even if based on the crowd, this is not exactly a place for supermodels and celebrities. Let's charm our way in. You walk up to the man at the door and smile. Hey, you remember me, right? Mind if I go in? The bouncer looks at you, taken in by your supernatural charisma. It doesn't matter whether he really remembers you or not. Sure, go right in. Have a nice night. Are you supposed to be someone, but disguised? Have a great night. You walk into the club, ignoring all the people standing in line. The music beats down on you, bringing with it memories of a human existence. The first time you went dancing with friends, when you flirted with someone on the dance floor, this was the Bruja opening area. Oh, sugar, we've used our powers a few too many times, we need to drink. This time it's different, you're a predator and everyone around you is prey, tightly packed, touching sacks of blood and tissue. You sense the emotions all around you, blood tinted with happiness, lust, rage, jealousy, love, a buffet of sensations. Focus, keep an eye out for trouble while I look for what we came to find. You nod and follow Agathon through the throng, trying to ignore all the warmth, flesh and circulating blood around you. He's told us to focus and we really should. But if I don't eat soon, I'm gonna beast out. Okay, let's focus on him. I can eat at another point. As in the prize, you came here to help Agathon and that's what you'll do. Agathon wades through dancing people with purpose. You have no idea how he is searching for the missing research notes. Perhaps he's using the enhanced senses of a vampire or doing esoteric sorcery. At least he seems to know what he's doing. Juno, you swerve to avoid a drunken man who was just about to spill beer onto you and try to see what Agathon is looking at. The young woman, intense, purposeful, a little out of place at the nightclub. Just like you and Agathon. Juno, is she looking for the notes too? Let me guess, she's after your research notes too. They're not my research notes, but yes. The woman Juno elbows a drunken man out of her way and points a finger at Agathon's face. Agathon, you traitor, don't you dare stand between me and what's mine. I like her hair, but she has a 5 head instead of a 4 head. You look at the woman in surprise. Her appearance stands in contrast with the anger in her words. Juno, you know Aisling will not let you leave with the notes. Perhaps she won't let you leave at all. Juno pulls closer to Agathon's face and stage whispers loudly enough for you to hear over the music. You're still so brainwashed that you care about what Aisling fucking Sturbridge wants. I'm done jumping through hair hoops. I don't know what I saw in you, Agathon. You're such a lapdog. Let's not forget the Masquerade. Sounds good. Look, are we sure we want to talk about this all in the middle of the dance floor? Do I look like I care about the fucking Masquerade? You look at Juno in genuine shock. From Sophie, you've understood that the Masquerade is universal among the kindred. Juno, you don't mean that. You're not suicidal. Fucking watch me. Juno, please. Juno steps back, suddenly cold, ignoring the people dancing all around. She stares hard at Agathon. The past is past. The traditions are dead to me. You won't stop me, Agathon. I'll make sure of that here and now. You know I have the power. Oh, fuck, what's she doing? No, Juno, please. Agathon sounds panicked. He's not worried about his own survival, but with the possibility that Juno is going to unleash a genuine Masquerade breach. Presence. Calling on the powers of your blood, you step closer to Juno between her and Agathon. Agathon was being an asshole. Don't hurt yourself just to get back at him. He's not worth it. Juno looks you in the eye and you can see that she's tired and scared. Defecting from the Tremere is not easy or safe. You're right. She tends to go, then stops and glances back at you. You should pick better friends. With that, Juno walks through the oblivious dancers toward the exit. Looking around, you realise that Agathon didn't stay to witness your exchange with Juno. Instead, he worked his way around the dancing crowds, looking for the notes under his arcane methods. After Juno was gone, he returned, shaking his head. The notes were here, but not anymore. It's possible someone grabbed them when they hunted here. After making sure Juno is nowhere to be seen, you and Agathon push your way back outside. Outside, you walk to Agathon's car and drive back over the Brooklyn Bridge to Manhattan, heading for Agathon's haven. Juno mentions some very personal things. I trust your discretion in not discussing those things with Aisling. Of course. Your love life is your business. Thank you. After a while, you reach Agathon's haven and he parks the car. You walk to the occult bookstore and Agathon invites you inside. Oh, here we go. The smell of incense assaults you before making you grateful that you don't have to breathe. You follow Agathon upstairs to find Aisling Sturbridge in an armchair reading an old book. She puts a bookmark in place as you come in. You're successful, I hope. No, I'm sorry, the notes were there at some point but not anymore. That's a shame. I hope you don't run out of time. How did Sophie's protege do? Agathon tends to look at you. Well, surprisingly well. That's a surprise. I have to compliment Sophie on her choice. We met Juno. Fortunately, she didn't find the notes either. That's interesting. The High Regent turns to look at you. What was your impression of Juno, fledgling? Well, obviously we're not going to say Agathon's ex. Angry? She was very angry. I don't know what you people did to her, but she's pissed. What we did? Careful now, fledgling. She made her own choices. Oh, fuck, I made a bad option. Bad as they were. Anyway, I have some things to discuss with Agathon, but along now. Oh. You leave the occult bookstore, the cheesy mystical music still in your ears as you walk away. You wonder about what happened with Juno. Sorry, I keep getting texts. And they keep coming up on my screen. Why is she so anxious to leave her clan, and can she really do that? Could you leave Sophie's service if you wanted to? Okay, so we're still at a point where we can visit someone else, and we can't visit him again. So we can visit this one, or we can start the Tamako one, but I think she's going to be hard because they've said that she, like, being a gangrel and all that shit, she's going to be hard to tame and all that shit. Let's try it. Let's go for it. Sophie mentioned a gangrel neonate by the name of Tamako, who made herself a haven in Prospect Park. The Ferals aren't exactly a social bunch, even by kindred standards, but if you can keep her from clawing your eyes out just long enough, she might be persuaded to join you. Let's go see. Oh, this is pretty. You make your way through the Grand Army Plaza, passing the Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Arch. You can't help but feel a tinge of nostalgia as you picture the places you've seen it countless times. In broad daylight, teeming with life. You quickly get over it and pass through the northwest gate into Prospect Park. The park is its usual maze of unkept foliage and dimly lit alleys. Silence hangs in the air, as it would at this time of night, and there doesn't appear to be any sign of kindred presence. You start to suspect Langley's sources fed her a bunch of bullshit, but you're not willing to give up just yet. You take a deep breath, your nostrils fill with the scent of dead leaves and something else. A faint whiff of copper, too subtle for a human to notice, but your profound kindred intuition tells you that you're in the right spot. Yeah, these are Tamako's hunting grounds, all right. It's more than a hunch. You can feel it in your veins. Now it's only a matter of finding her, unless, of course, she finds you first. As you ponder your options, you hear footsteps coming from behind a line of trees, quick but evenly paced, most likely a late-night jogger. No vampire would take kindly to you feeding in their domain, but then again, perhaps you could kill two birds with one stone. I need to eat. You lock onto the sound of footsteps, predicting the runner's path. You move swiftly but quietly to intercept them. You hide behind a tree and wait for your prey to get closer. Mere seconds later, a young man in an off-brand tracksuit trots into view. You notice the buds in his ears beat, heavy music bleeding through. That should make things easier. Just as the man passes by, you emerge behind him and plant your hand firmly on his neck. He struggles at first, desperately trying to break free of your grasp, but as soon as your fangs pierce his skin, panic gives way to peaceful submission. You feel elated as the warm liquid trickles down your throat. The fresh vitae washes over your senses, sending an orgasmic shiver down your spine. Somewhere in the deepest, darkest crevices of your mind, the beast stares in its slumber. You stop feeding just in time, your hunger satiated. The beast fast asleep. You sit the dazed victim on a nearby bench. As the well comes back into focus, you suddenly realize that something is not right. In a split second, the air by the side of your head swells like a vortex. Driven by sheer instinct, you lean back, just as 5 finger-shaped razors cut through the darkness, missing your face by an inch. A clawed shadow jumps back a few paces, preparing to correct its mistake. Catch a glimpse of the assailant. Looks pretty animalistic, all right, but he's not the one you're looking for. For starters, it's a he. Just as he's about to lunge at you, a snarl resounds from the bushes nearby, stopping your foe in their tracks. Out of the shadows emerges a young woman, baring her teeth ever so slightly. She walks over calmly, her eyes fixed on your assailant. Her presence is enough to make him reconsider attacking you, but not to withdraw completely. He glances over to her, puffing up his chest. Stay out of it, Tom. I smelled him first. Tam, how about that? She raised an eyebrow but remained silent. Her compatriot turns back towards you. You shouldn't have come here, pretty boy. I'm gonna fuck you up so bad you'll be wearing your tongue as a fucking necktie. Tamika looks at you expectantly. Never ever refer to a gangrel as a dog. Because they're animalistic by nature, everyone treats them like a lapdog. So let's just say easy. Easy there, big shot. You've made your point, okay? Confirmed badass. I'm not looking for a fight. Tamika tilts her head in a way that's barely noticeable and yet strangely expressive. She seems disappointed. The man loosens up, his lip twisting into a wry smile. Clearly, you just gave him the confidence boost he needed. Figures. You got that look about you. All style, no substance. Didn't even have to smell you. I know a sissy when I see one. Well, guess what? You ain't getting off that easy, chicken shit. A fierce growl echoes across the alley, stopping the savage in his tracks. Tamika walks over to her comrade, her fangs glistening in the dim lamplight. She puts her hand on the side of his head, caressing his hair and tugging at his ear, as if she was scolding a puppy. She leans over and speaks in a voice that's firm yet oddly affectionate. Oh, I like her hair. I like what she's wearing. She looks fantastic. It's okay, Raoul. I can handle it from here. I loved, the markings and stuff he had as well. The male gangrel looks at her with a mix of timidity and resentment. Then he turns back towards you. Fine, they're not worth the effort. Anyway, and the tree of life and all that. Pretty cool. And he's got his beard braided in 4. They're not worth the effort anyway. Having said his piece, Raoul retreats into the shadows, although if you were to guess, he's likely to stay within earshot. I'm going to move my phone away from the microphone because every time it makes a noise, it's going to end up... you're going to hear it really loud. With her companion gone, Tamika runs to you once more. What do you want? Straight to the point, I like that. I don't care what you like. Now quit stalling. You have something to say, say it. I'm looking for partners. I come with an offer. I'm willing to offer you my services, such as they are. All I would hope for in return is a faithful, long-lasting relationship. So you want to help me with something because you want to be my friend. Is that about right? Sounds corny, I know. She puts on a veneer of skepticism, but you can tell she's intrigued. Corny's not bad, though. I think I'm okay with corny. What I'm not okay with is putting my ass on the line and getting stabbed in the back for my trouble. So why exactly should I trust anything you say? I don't expect you to. I don't know. This isn't like Jezebel. She might be upset that I know too much. I like that you can see the blood moon coming through the tree line up there. I can make it worth your while. Why should I trust anything you say? I don't expect you to. Not yet, anyway. Good, because my trust is earned, not given. Then let me earn it. A few nights of your time, that's all I ask. Brief moment, she stands there motionless, looking straight into your eyes, as if trying to size you up. Finally, she looks away. It looks like she's come to a decision. Just so that we're clear, I don't trust you. I've no reason to, frankly. You sound more lost than I am. Still, there's something about you. Most kindred who are this pretty tend to hide rot underneath, but I don't smell it on you. So I'll give you a chance to prove yourself. I have some outstanding business to take care of. I'll let you know once that's done. Meet me here and we'll see what you're really made of. And with that, Tamika disappears into the night. That went pretty well, all things considered. I think we have to rest now, because the sun's about to come up, so let's go. Not long after you wake up, Gregory knocks on the door of your apartment. Hey, he's a bit alright, isn't he, with his little dimple and his little pert lips. I came to pick you up. Miss Langley wants to see you. Well, my freedom was good while it lasted. He smiles apologetically. Don't shoot the messenger. Car's waiting, shall we? You wrestle with the same thoughts of a few nights ago. Maybe you should just leave, disappear, let Sophie find somebody else to employ. But then you remember the anarch thug being cut down by Kadir, and how close you were to the same fate, not even a week ago. And that it might still happen if you step out of line. You follow suit. As with your previous visit here, Sophie seems not entirely present when you enter. Her eyes are locked onto one of the paintings in the room. You're pretty sure it was here earlier, but she's behaving as if she's seeing it for the first time in her life, entirely entranced. Gregory clears his throat. Sophie turns to the both of you, a bit of irritation on her countenance that soon gives way to a pleasant warm smile. You're here. Excellent. Thank you, Gregory. Her driver leaves and she turns her attention to you. I hope you had a good few nights and made some new acquaintances, but I have to say, I'm happy to see you, Lamar. Thank you for coming. The changing mood of the room is so sudden and startling it makes you consider the true power of vampiric charisma. Rationally, you know you're being manipulated, but you don't even care. Her eyes, her motions, her entire body language all feel 100% genuine in expressing legitimate interest in you and your well-being. The phone needs to go on silent, because it's just ridiculous now. Her entire body language all feel 100% genuine in expressing legitimate interest in you and your well-being. I have a request for you this night. I need you to find somebody for me and make a delivery. She points at the statue at the side of the room. You notice a plain-looking flash drive lying on the edge where the inanimate archer's bow touches the pedestal. The man you'll be looking for calls himself Kaiser. He has eyes and ears all over New York, and it's rare for something to happen here without his knowledge. I'll need you to take this flash drive and bring it to him. In exchange, he will give you an address, which I need to know as soon as possible. You're about to ask what's on the drive, but Sophie proves to be one step ahead of you. Oh, don't worry about the contents. They're all encrypted. Precaution for if the data falls into the wrong hands. But it won't, correct? She gives you a smile that just a handful of nights ago would have made you feel like melting. Owen Lamar, Kaiser is a Nosferatu, that twisted, deformed lineage of kindred. He's old, and his age has made him even more paranoid than others of his clan tend to be. He holds many havens and changes them often. From what I've gathered, he or one of his servants should be found at the park on Coney Island tonight. You'll have to identify them somehow. I'm told Kaiser has spent many of his nights these past few years being driven around the city in a black limo. Maybe keep an eye out for it. That smile again, but much shorter. Anything more? He's been here a long time, about as long as I have. He's got into a lot of trouble for exchanging information with both the Anarchs and the Camarilla in the past, but ultimately got off scot-free. Kaiser's web of information proved to be strong enough to shield him from the consequences of playing both sides. Some say that's the best proof of his abilities. In any case, be careful when talking to him. He's very particular about everyone's etiquette except his own. Good night and good luck. She flashes one last smile at you and turns back to the painting, clearly done with the conversation. You pocket the flash drive and head out towards Coney Island. It takes you the better part of an hour to reach the lights and sounds of the Coney Island amusement park from the city. The drive is almost pleasant this time of night. Thank God for Belt Parkway. There are plenty of people here tonight, but nobody who stands out as a travelling purveyor of secrets. Then again, if they did stand out, it would be kind of pointless, right? Nothing to do but figure out the right approach. Take a moment to focus and try to pick on any details that would help you in locating Kaiser. Initially, the noise from the nearby amusement park flooded your mind and momentarily stunned you. A child's crying, the loud bang of a car door closing, the bright old-school logo of the Cyclone roller coaster, all overload your senses, and you have to lean on a nearby booth to stay upright. You regain control, start walking, listening in, taking in the sights and smells, looking for something, anything to point you in the right direction. A man talking on his phone, a snippet of conversation. Clean the red stuff from the garage, tidied up in general. The limo will fit for sure. Come on, don't be like that, boss. I didn't mean to. Yes, I know, I am. It's a privilege, Mr. K, sir. The call ends. The man tucks the phone away. It's a fancy model. Doesn't look like anything readily available on the market and doesn't fit the guy's rugged looks at all. He notices you. Hey, what you looking at, huh? Any chance Mr. K stands for Kaiser? Nah, it stands for, clearly lying isn't his forte. Fuck off. Neither are comebacks, it would seem. Intimidate him. Yeah. Listen, man, I need to contact your boss, and I need to do it now. Quit wasting my time while things are getting pleasant real soon. It doesn't take that well. He reaches into his pocket, produces a gun, rush him. Bang. The bullet hits you in the arm. Ah, blood splatter. And goes out the other side. It hurts, but that would be a debilitating wound for a mortal. It's just a nasty scratch for you, or what would be a debilitating wound. It takes a bit of brawling, the man's stronger than you'd expect, but using your powers, you're able to overcome him. With a few hits to the jaw, the man passes out from the pain. Searching him, you find a fancy phone that doesn't look like anything readily available on the market. The phone's locked, but a recent smudge on the screen gives you a rough idea of what the combination might be. You get it right on the second try. There's one number in the phone book, unlabeled. You dial it and hear someone pick up. The voice is like a rusty pitchfork scraping against gravel. Jackie, you're messing up my snuff session here. It better be something big. Hi, I have something for you from Sophie Langley. Care to come pick it up? Silence, not even a sound. The call ends. You try calling again, but the number is blocked. Nothing to do but wait to see if he shows up. Now 15 minutes pass before a black limo stops near where you're waiting. One door opens an invitation. The inside of the limo used to be a luxury lounge, the kind with a stripper pole and a bar full of alcohol, but it currently has none of that. Instead, there are monitors and consoles. There are dozens of displays, each one showing something different. Surveillance, camera footage. Excuse me. Stock market quotes, television news, emails, tweets, silent movies, lo-fi footage of a gory torture session. You wonder if the limo's owner can focus on anything while surrounded by all of this visual noise and then realise there's nobody there. Or is there? A man blinks into existence on a leather-covered couch, attempting to maintain something that approximates a regal presence. You're 100% sure it's Kaiser. Surrounded by dimly lit computer screens, his features are even more ghastly than you imagined. All sharp angles of twisted bone and mangled flesh and crooked teeth. He bears them in an awful parody of a smile. Suddenly, someone grabs you from behind, twists your arm and pushes your head against the car's roof. Got them, boss. I have them. The Nosferatu chuckles. Oh, congratulations, dickweed. Could have done that before you gave away the fucking phone. Just let them go already. I don't think he's particularly ugly, to be honest. Like, Nos is supposed to be really twisted looking. Like, constantly look bestial. The only thing that is really going on here is his top lip looks puckered in and his teeth are sharpened. But you're going to make me repeat myself, you thick motherfucker. He lets go. You take a look at him. The man is confused and clearly hurting. He flashes you an angry stare but obeys his boss's orders to the letter. What are you waiting for? A formal invitation? Get in the car. We have some talking to do. The door closes behind you. So Langley, huh? I'm guessing you've got something for me then? You reluctantly pull the flash drive from your pocket and slowly pass it to Kaiser. He plunges it into a USB port on the arm of his chair and displays the data on one of the screens that happen to be turned away from you. It takes him about a minute to access the data. Who do you people think I am? I saw this footage a week ago. He removes the flash drives and throws it back at you in disgust. Tell Sophie the deal's off. She wants her address, she can give me something else. Ask how you can make it up to him. I have taken too much damage. Ask him to give you a break. Presents, ask him to take the deal. Do I want to present this guy? I don't think I do. I think I'll just talk to him. Come on, give me a break. How could we have known that you'd already seen this material? Gives you a patronizing look. Kid, you're new here, so pretend I didn't hear that. You want your address? You're gonna have to work for it. I have just the idea. Yeah, something appropriate for an eager fledgling like yourself. More on that soon. Stay tuned. Now get the fuck out. You're pretty sure you're done here. You get out, close the door behind you, and the car immediately starts backing up. The opaque windows slide past you, and soon the limo is on its way. Kaiser's lackey is nowhere to be seen, so you make your way to your car and drive back, wondering what tomorrow brings. Is that a full night? No, I can do something now. Agathon or Tamaka? Or this one. This is a side quest, so I could do this. Mi abuela, mi abuela. 1 more visit to the Chantry of 5 Boroughs, and to Agathon, who's starting to be surrounded by a smell of danger. Oh, okay, let's do that. One of these nights you'll have to buy something you reflect. As you ring the doorbell of the occult bookstore. Oh, excuse me. That saves as Agathon's haven, perhaps something about auras or the tarot. The same sleep-deprived blonde woman you saw on your first visit opens the door for you. Each kindred has their own servants, and Agathon seems to go for the tired Wiccan mum type. Oh, it's you. Come in. The woman disappears into the back room even as you close the door behind you. Lacking any better directions, you make your way up the stairs. At first you thought that chanting was part of the ritual. Oh, for a second there I thought like the sun was coming in. Chanting was part of the ritual soundtrack that plays in the shop even at night. As you reach the 2nd floor, you realise it's Agathon's voice. You come up just in time to see him standing in the middle of his ritual paraphernalia with his wrist cut open over a raw iron stand holding a blood-red stone. As Agathon chants, blood drips from the wound in his wrist onto the stone. It looks as if it's absorbed into it. It's probably not a good idea to interrupt blood rituals, so you wait in silence as Agathon finishes. A few minutes later, he opens his eyes and smiles ruefully. I've done so many of these rituals, I hope it's not too off-putting for you. Agathon smears a bit of his own blood over the wound, and you see it close. It looks like he does this so often he barely pays attention to it anymore. Aren't vampires supposed to be into blood? It's icky. I'm cool. I don't mind, we're all vampires here. That we are. Agathon picks up the blood-red stone from its stand. This is a bloodstone. Could be useful. He doesn't seem inclined to elaborate. Anyway, let's go. He pockets the stone and leads you back down the stairs and outside to his car. Soon you're on way to Queens. And Flushing Meadows, Corona Park. After parking the car, you follow Agathon on foot as he leads you deeper into the park. Coming to a New York park in the middle of the night might have worried you when you were alive, but now it's normal. If someone tries to mug you, it just means you'll have an opportunity to feed. Agathon walks with purpose as if he knows exactly where to go. You see the Unisphere, a giant metal sculpture of Earth, lit up so parkgoers can appreciate it at night. You're not sure how Agathon picks his ritual spot, but he must have a purpose in mind. The sculpture stands in the background, giving his preparations added dramatic weight. Stand watch while I perform a ritual. It'll reveal whether the notes we seek are here. I'll lose control of the incantation if you fail to keep me free of distractions. It doesn't look like there are many people around. You settle in for a boring half hour while Agathon mumbles and makes strange gestures, spilling drops of his blood at regular intervals. From the outside, the ritual is not particularly flashy. Agathon repeats a mantra under his breath and walks with measured steps until he stops and turns around, walking back. It looks as if there is an invisible structure he must follow, unseen patterns and limits governing his movements. As choreographies go, it doesn't look particularly difficult to learn, but you suspect there are hidden dimensions of skill and understanding involved. A lone drunken woman walks toward you. Hard to say what she's doing at the park. She's a little older, white, dressed like a suburban divorcee. What's your friend doing? He's kind of hot. The woman's words are slurred by alcohol, but she seems to have decided that you are this evening's entertainment. Hey, you, stop being weird and talk to me. The woman seems determined to walk past you towards Agathon. This looks like just the kind of interruption that he was worried about. Feeding opportunity. Agathon is deeply immersed in his ritual, so why not use the time you have constructively? You walk up to the woman from behind, grab her by the shoulders and sink your fangs into her throat. Blood tinged with alcohol and horniness flows into your mouth as the woman moans from the sudden pleasure of the kiss. Oh, I need to sit down. Just as you lick the wound closed, the woman collapses onto the ground, swaying, trying to sit upright. Suddenly you hear a scream of rage. Startled, you turn around just in time to see Agathon running at the woman on the ground, his expression contorted with hatred. Did the woman make enough noise to interfere with the ritual? That doesn't explain why he's in such a rage. Intervene. You step between Agathon and the woman and lift your hands up in an attempt to calm him down. What are you doing? This is not you, Agathon. Agathon looks at you wild-eyed. For a second, you're sure he'll attack you. You see him tensing for a punch. Suddenly, he snaps out of it, shaking his head, looking at the terrified drunken woman in disgust and embarrassment. What the fuck just happened? Thank you, I'm sorry you had to see that. I don't usually lose control. Sorry that we broke your ritual. Sorry to break your ritual. I know you brought me along so this wouldn't happen. It wasn't you. One of my wards was triggered. We have to go now. Oh. Agathon starts running towards his car, and you do your best to follow. Usually Agathon drives more carefully than most humans, you know, but now something is different. He's speeding, honking at every car that gets in your way. You're driving towards the Bronx, and twice Agathon almost collides with another car. He's clearly not used to driving quickly, but something is overriding his usual caution. You screech to a trot. Oh, I've not seen this before. Oh, look at the blood moon. You screech to a stop in front of a red tile apartment building. Agathon jumps out of the car and starts running, leaving you to take the keys from the ignition and close the doors. Agathon disappears up the stairs and you follow his agitated shouting. Abuela, it's me, Yavi. Or Javi. You get to the 5th floor, landing after a run that would have left your mortal self winded to find Agathon banging on an apartment door and fiddling with his keyring. A few of the neighbours poke their heads out of the hallway, but nobody intervenes. Agathon finds the right key and slams the door open, running inside. Abuela. Abuela means grandmother, doesn't it? I could Google it, but I'm pretty sure it means grandmother. You follow, entering what looks like the home of an old Mexican lady. I was going to say, isn't it Spanish? There are portraits on the mantelpiece and a crucifix on the wall. The apartment smells musty with old age and you detect a faint odour of vampiric blood. Sylvia, where are you? You come to the living room to find a body covered by a blanket in the corner of a sofa. Television is on, but the sound is off. It looks like a Spanish language channel. Agathon tears the blanket, pulling it away in panic. He reveals an old woman waking up in blurry-eyed confusion. Javi, why are you barging in like this? Who's your friend? She looks cute. Look at her little, shoulders. She's like me. We're both little old ladies. Who's your friend? You're alive, Abuela. Agathon hugs the old lady and then turns to you. You'll have to introduce yourself. I'll check the ward. Something's triggered them and I'll have to see if they still work. Sylvia snuggles deeper into her blankets. This is vampire business, isn't it? Always when there's trouble, it's the vampires. You stare at her, startled. Clearly the masquerade hasn't held in this household. Turn it into a joke. Yeah, exactly. Frankenstein is not far behind. Anyway, I'm Lamar. You must be his grandmother. Frankenstein is not real. He's made up by those people in Hollywood. This is about the girl who came to visit, I can tell. Javi was never good at keeping secrets, much like his brother. You hear Agathon rummaging around the small apartment, almost as if he's scratching at something on the walls. He's always doing that, writing on the walls with blood, making runes. I tell him to cover them with the photos and the paintings, but he won't listen. I have to do it myself. That explains the faint smell of vampire blood in the apartment. Otherwise, how can I invite friends for tea? Last question is if I have runes all over my walls. It doesn't look like a Christian home anymore. Oh, okay, the girl who visited... Yeah, was her name Juno? Yes, that's right. A pretty name, I suppose. It is a pretty name. It's the name of my niece. Yeah, you better like it. She was just the kind of girl Agathon used to fall for. She was a vampire too, I expect. Yes, she was. I knew it. Poor girl. I suppose she had a life once. Agathon returns to the living room, still agitated. She wanted to send a message. If we don't let her find the notes first, she'll hurt my abuela. Oh, shit. Glances meaningfully at the old woman. No, she won't. She gave me a message for you, Javi. She said to think very carefully whether your clan will really protect your loved ones. Agathon stares at Sylvia, stunned and confused. She was here to tell me that. Maybe that's good. Doesn't sound like she wants to hurt you. She was a nice girl, I can tell. Oh, Abuela, Lamar, let's go. This is all we can do here. You say your goodbyes and soon you're back outside, sitting in Agathon's car. What a catastrophe to think Juno was there. The wards trigger when a vampire enters the perimeter, so Juno was there just as I was doing the ritual in the park. I'll take you to your haven. Agathon starts the car and begins to drive towards Manhattan. He appears agitated, emotions coursing under his stoic face. Your grandmother. The grandmother is a very spirited woman. She's all I have left of my family. She came here from Mexico City when my parents were still alive. The kindred have always haunted my family. Every generation has its own tragedies. Agathon is gripping the steering wheel harder than he should, although he's back to his usual careful driving style. I'm sorry this happened. I'm sorry. Do you know my still on feelings? Masquerade breach is bad. Not that one, definitely. Do we give a fuck if she still has feelings for him? If she still had feelings for him, then she wouldn't be going to his nans and giving, shitting him up. So let's go with, I'm sorry. I'm sorry this happened to your grandmother and that you have to fear for his safety. This is what it's like for all kindred who have a mortal they love. The thing is, if you don't want to lose your battle with the beast, you should probably hold on to those relationships anyway, even when it hurts. Agathon drops you off in front of your haven. The experience leaves you with disquieting thoughts. You met Agathon's grandmother under awkward circumstances, but he clearly loves her very much. You don't know enough about the world of the kindred to say whether that's normal or not. It seems to keep Agathon connected to the world in a way that feels alien for some of the other kindred you've met. Perhaps there is a lesson in that. Yeah. You're walking down the street towards your haven. In some other town, the sidewalks would be deserted this time of night. In New York City, there are plenty of passers-by going about their business. It's easy to be paranoid when you're a vampire surrounded by a crowd of humans. The kindred have many enemies, and all those enemies have one trait in common. They're invisible, indistinguishable from normal humanity. Other vampires, hunters, all look like people. Is that old man just a tired restaurant worker? Or a kindred thrall, tailing your movements? Are the officers idly waiting for a patrol car, or ordinary cops? Waiting in a patrol car, ordinary cops, or Second Inquisition specialists looking to end undead threats. Often abbreviated to SI, a collective name among vampires for the recent coordinated efforts of intelligent agencies to combat the kindred as if they were a terrorist threat. Few individual agents understand what they are fighting, and the intra-agency collaboration, codenamed First Light, places enormous import on keeping their operations secret and disguised as ordinary anti-terrorist action. Okay. This kind of thinking leads to madness, but you can't shake the feeling that someone is watching you. It's not the first time you've ever felt like this. While in the queue of so many mortals around you, you stop at the street corner to casually survey your surroundings as if you were trying to remember which turn to take. You look around, ostensibly, at street signs, but in reality to see if someone really is following you. Down the street where you came from, a crowd of young drunk men argue loudly about baseball. There's an indistinct figure standing behind them, almost impossible to notice. A woman, probably. The men unconsciously move around her as they start to walk away, still mouthing off at each other. Whatever this is, it's probably something you have to take care of. Best case, someone's tailing you. Worst case, you'll be attacked and killed. Unfortunately, being undead has its limitations. The sun is coming up soon and you'll burn to a crisp if you stay on the streets. You reach your haven and settle in for the day, disconcerted by the idea that someone might know where you sleep. As you wake from your slumber and emerge from your haven for the night, you notice a familiar face on the other side of the street, standing on the corner looking straight at you. What? It's Kaiser's lackey. Oh, okay. Whom you met recently. Jackie. He nods to you, encouraging you to approach. He still looks kind of rough after your last brawl, but the damage to his face is clearly mended. His hands are out of his pockets, though, a sign of goodwill. That's close enough. Let me guess. Kaiser sent you. Don't say his name out loud, idiot. He takes a look around just to make sure nobody's listening in on your conversation. Yeah, he sent me. I'm supposed to give you this. He produces a crumpled piece of paper from his jacket pocket and hands it to you. Read it, memorize it, and then give it back here. It's a letter. The paper might be just a page ripped out of a spiral notebook, but the writing on it is exquisitely detailed and deliberate. It reads, "Time to square your debt with me. Go to the wine shop at 232 Mulberry Street and ask for the 1821 Special Reserve. When they tell you they don't have it, say you're a Fidel Servitor della Famiglia G." Those exact fucking words, and make sure you get G right. You'll get a bottle, just take it and leave by saying grazie. Don't ask how much it is or anything else, just walk out when you have it. Come back to Jackie Boy here and let him know. You don't memorize that shit and hand it over. What's with all this cloak and dagger? That's how the boss likes it, and who am I to argue? I just do what he says. Are you about done with the letter? You note the phrases and addresses mentioned in the letter, then hand it back to Jackie. He immediately reaches for a lighter and burns the letter, putting out the ashes with his boot. So yeah, when you do what the boss asks, come here so I can tell you where to go next. I'll be in that alley over there, so find me when you have the item, whatever it is. I don't know, and the boss made it extra clear that I shouldn't care, so I don't. See ya. He shuffles away and leaves you to pursue the lead from the letter. Time to pay a visit to Nolita. You arrive at the address mentioned in the note. Not counting local restaurant patrons, the street is mostly empty at this time of night, but curiously, the wine shop is still open. Inside, a small middle-aged woman with curly hair stands behind the counter in front of a wall filled with wine bottles. There's a door at the back of the room with a small table and chair occupied by a man in a black faux leather jacket with slick combed back hair. He's reading a newspaper but pauses as a little bell rings when you open the door. He takes a sip from a small steaming cup, then gets back to his broadsheet. Good evening, how can I help you? Ooh, she got some good boobies. Be direct. I would like a bottle. Yep. Let me check our stock. She seems to be looking through a database on the laptop sitting on the counter. She puts on a polite smile. I'm afraid we don't have that one at the moment, sorry. Recite the phrase straight and simple. I am a Fideli Servitore della Famiglia G. In that case, let me see if you have any in the back. Wait here, please. The woman leaves the counter and goes through the doors in the back. The man by the table puts down his newspaper and takes another sip from the cup, washing it down with a gulp of water from the nearby glass. He tries to hide it, but there's no doubt he's watching you. About a minute passes. Remain silent and wait. You remind yourself of what Kaiser wrote in the letter and keep quiet, patiently waiting for the woman to return from the back of the store. The man finishes his drink and starts doodling on the newspaper, his eyes darting to you every so often. The doors to the back of the store open and the proprietor emerges with a small, unlabelled squat bottle of crimson liquid. She gives you an apologetic smile. Scusi, sorry for taking so long. Turns out we did have it. She offers you the bottle and you reach out to grab it, but she retracts it. You do know what this is, don't you? Why, it's wine, of course. Well, this is a wine shop, so it's wine, surely. Well, of course, the best kind of wine. Enjoy. She winks at you. Deciding you pushed your luck far enough, you nod and exit the store, then take a brisk walk to the car. Nobody follows you as you leave Nolita and drive back to your apartment. I have a feeling that has ties to the Giovanni. It takes you some time to find a parking spot, but you finally get out of the car and start looking for Jackie, who's not far from where you parted ways just under 2 hours ago. I got the goods. Sure do. Cool, stand by, gotta make the call. He takes a few more steps into a narrow space between two buildings and takes out the same high-tech phone you saw him carrying last night. Hey boss, yeah, they have it. Where do I point them to? Okay, yeah, I'll tell them to go right there. He puts the phone back in his pocket and turns back to you. Well, it's 1/2 an hour, so you better step on it, see you around. With only a flippant salute, Jackie starts walking down the street. You make your way to the car and drive. You had to push the speed limit to make it on time, but you're here. Willets Point I'm so sorry. Willard's Point is quite a change of scenery. The place is a post-industrial dump, the nearby stadium notwithstanding. You stop your car once, you realise that if you go any further down, the potholes will kill your chassis. Chassis? Chassis, I think is how you say it. You step out into one of those gashes in the asphalt, splashing in the ankle-deep water. Kaiser's limo is nowhere to be seen. In fact, the whole place is pretty much deserted, other than the apparent proprietor of a lonely bar. A middle-aged woman who's just locking the place up. Oh, well now. I haven't drank in a while. It's probably best to keep the beast off. Let's do that. This is too perfect an opportunity to not take advantage of. She's walking to her car, ready to call it a night when you sneak up on her. She's far too tired to resist your strong cold and swift bite. You can taste the caffeine in her veins, smell the cheap cigarettes in her hair, the old cooking grease on her clothes. She passes out. You assault the closing note of a long day at work. You let her down gently and feel a pang of remorse. You pick up the car keys she dropped and place her in the driver's seat. She'll find an explanation for passing out like this for sure. The bright lights of a car pulling over down the road illuminate you as you close the door. It's a black limo. Kaiser is finally here, it would seem. Same as last time, the car doors open but nobody comes out. You know the drill. This time Kaiser is visible when you look inside. You sit down and close the door behind you. So you pulled it off without a hitch then? Give it here. Hand the bottle over to the Nosferatu. He uncorks it gently, takes a whiff, puts the cork back in. Yeah, that's the stuff. See, that wasn't so hard. Consider your debt paid. Oh yeah, also take this. It's what Langley wanted. He passes you an envelope with what feels like a thick card inside. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kaiser. Yeah, I'll send Jackie over if I ever need anything else from you. How about that? Time for you to get out now. He waves you out of the car with the envelope in hand. You get out, back onto the torn asphalt in decrepit surroundings. The limo slowly drives away. Finally, you can return to Sophie and bring her what she wanted. Gregory lets you in. You hear a shrill, unpleasant laugh and you realise Sophie is having a guest over. He's the man from the Elysium, the one with the glasses and good taste in suits. You didn't have the chance to talk to him last time you saw him. Ah, Lamar. So glad to see you. Tell me, did the two of you previously meet? The man doesn't wait for you to answer. He approaches you with an energetic, almost dance-like step and puts out his hand. Thomas Arturo, I've heard about you. Pleasure. So last time we spoke to him, and we mentioned his glasses, and he said, I don't need them for sight. They're just for aesthetics. And I said, well, you suit them. And then he was like, haha, thank you. I'm glad that Sophie decided to not let you be murdered. Ta-ta. And then fucked off to talk to other people. Thomas is a great source of gossip and excellent conversationalist. I also have the prince's ear, which is the primary reason dear Miss Langley wishes to speak to me tonight. Good gossip, even coming from me, isn't nearly as valued. Sad. Sophie is taken aback by the man's direct comment, but smiles politely. The awkward atmosphere is broken again by the guest's grating laugh. I kid, of course, I kid. Well, I was about to leave anyway, so I'll leave you two to it. Good night, Sophie, Lamar, Greggy boy. Sophie's driver opens the door for Arturo, and the guest steps out with a single wave of the hand towards his host and you. The door closes. What's his deal? Last time I said he's quite a character because I didn't want to upset anything, but what's his deal? So what's his deal? Same as everyone's: position, power, influence. Thomas has clout in court and access to many juicy details on everyone from the prince to the lowliest primogen. It's useful to have him on your side, even if his eccentricity requires some patience. The lowliest primogen is probably the guy that we were talking to last time, the not as pale as everyone else guy, who is the thin blood primogen. Thin bloods generally are seen as a bad thing, like the coming of the apocalypse, or just the bloodlines running out and things like that. So when we went over and talked to him, and he was like, hey, if you don't want to be like freaking everyone out, don't speak to me because I'm the dick out of the group. So when she says the lowliest primogen, she's probably referring to him. Speaking of patience, you have been putting mine to the test lately. Did you manage to contact Kay's and acquire what I asked for? It's been 2 days, Sophie. Yes, but I had to do another job for him first. She retrieved the envelope from you. I'm sure he did. I do hope it wasn't too much of an inconvenience. Do that one? He made me go on an entirely separate escapade to retrieve a bottle of wine from a store in Nolita. I had to use code phrases and whatnot. Wine shop code phrases, that degenerate pest. She's visibly agitated but calms down and smiles at you. Don't worry about it. I'll make sure that whatever Kaiser had you do, it'll blow over. She opens the envelope and looks at the card. You notice the same lettering you saw on Kaiser's note from before, but can't see the details. Her eyes widen. Yes, excellent. I need to call in some favours. I will likely be busy for the next few nights. You have my permission to show some initiative, my dear Charge. I will contact you soon. With that, Sophie ushers you outside and you are left to do with the rest of the night's hours as you like. So we still have some time. This is... Oh, somebody's watching me? That's our stalker. There's Agathon. We could finish Agathon's storyline. Or we could do this side quest. Or we could meet Tamika again. These two are side quests. Let's do this one. The final confrontation between Agathon and Juno is getting near, and Aisling Stair Bridge, High Region for the Chantry of the 5 boroughs in New York, is impatient to see its result. I'm still getting texts here. You're in your haven when someone knocks at your door. Puzzled, you open it. Agathon stands in the hallway expectantly, as if the 10 seconds it took for you to come to the door was an impossible imposition. You need my help? Let me guess, you're going out to hunt for the research notes. You need my help. Yes, exactly, let's go. You follow Agathon down the street, wondering what kind of revelations tonight will hold. So far, Agathon's rituals haven't been successful at locating the research notes, but you've learned a lot about the Tremere and Agathon himself. This time, I've got it. The problem is, when an old vampire disappears, even from our clan, we're so secretive that it's hard for us to find out what they were up to. Agathon's car is parked in the curb. You get in, Agathon starts to drive. You may have guessed that the notes we're looking for belong to an old member of our house. The problem is that we need them to continue their research. I see. Why does Juno need the notes? Is she going into research? Agathon looks at you uncertainly before returning his eyes to the road ahead. I don't know, but I can guess. Wait for him to continue, but he doesn't seem inclined to do so. Getting used to sitting in Agathon's car in silence, he drives. You look out the window back to Queens. Eventually you roll up to an industrial area called Willets Point. It doesn't really look like a place where a blood sorcerer would hang out. We've just been here. Agathon parks in front of a car repair shop that looks like it has seen better days. There are huge puddles of water on the road and car wrecks strewn about. It was just you in the dark for a second there, and I thought, fuck, he's like using ritual magic on us. But it'd be quick if I can find this place, so can Juno. You look around to see if someone is observing you, but there don't seem to be any people about. And why would there be? Who would hang around in a place like this at night? Agathon tries the front door of the repair shop, then circles around to the back. You follow him. There's a broken window in the back, protected by iron bars. Agathon grabs them and gives them a quick shake. The entire iron grill comes off. Startled, Agathon lowers it to the ground. I suppose someone has already broken in and didn't want to leave an obvious point of entry. You and Agathon climb inside through the window. It's awkward, but not difficult. Looking around, you realise that the repair shop has been abandoned for some time. It looks like homeless people have stayed here in the past, but nobody's currently squatting on the premises. You try a light switch, but nothing happens, obviously. You know the drill. I'll do the ritual in the office, make sure there are no interruptions. Agathon makes his way to the repair shop's office, a slightly cleaner area than the rest of the building. He begins the ritual in the dark. Explore, shift through papers, stand guard. You lean against the grimy wall. Agathon murmurs the strange word required by his blood magic and takes carefully measured steps across the filthy floor. You wait patiently as he performs his ritual. It feels like it's taking longer than usual, leaving you some time to scan the room. Streetlights filter in from outside, but it's still pretty dark. A ratty sleeping bag lies on the floor. I wonder what a warlock might have wanted in a place like this. There's a small TV on the desk, probably from the 90s. Looking closer, you realise there's a post-it note in the middle of the TV screen. You take it. It reads, Loser, Juno. Agathon stops gesturing. They're not here. How is that possible? You show him the post-it note. He takes it and looks it over as if suspecting it might hide a devious trick. Fuck, she has the notes, and she had to gloat. We have to go. It feels like you spent a lot of time recently hurrying after Agathon as he walks briskly in and out of buildings and to his car. He starts the car as you close the door. We have to go to her haven and get the notes. There's no time to waste. Despite the urgency of his words, Agathon drives as carefully as ever. It seems that only a threat to his grandmother is enough to make him drive recklessly. What if we can't get them? What do we do with it? How do we find her? Let's do that. How are we going to find Juno? She must be hiding. Used to date. I know where her haven is. Juno's haven is in Brooklyn, in a waterfront warehouse. Agathon drives to South Brooklyn. This is one of the advantages of being undead. Moving at night, traffic is much lighter than if you wanted to zoom around the 5 boroughs during rush hour. Parking the car, Agathon pointed to a light coming from an otherwise dark yellow brick warehouse. That's her, let's go in. Go around the warehouse. Preferring to keep a lower profile for now, you circle around the building and look for an alternative entry point. You find a rusty metal door with no window in it at the very end of the building, some kind of emergency exit. You get it open with little difficulty, entering the building with Agathon. You emerge into a light-proofed room, sectioned off on one side by a cheap plywood wall. There's a flimsy-looking door that probably leads to the main warehouse area. You stop to listen. You hear 2 voices. One is clear and you recognise that it belongs to Juno. The last time you heard her, she was shouting in a nightclub, but the voice is the same. The other voice sounds like it's coming from underwater. It has strange echoes and resonances. I guess that she's looking into like a blood bowl of magic sort of thing. And the voice is coming back from there. I have the notes. There's nothing holding me here. Very good, Juno. You'll be much happier once you shed the shackles of the pyramid. The pyramid, traditional hierarchy of blood bonds reaching from the top to the bottom of the pyramid, used to define the Tremere. But after the fall of Vienna, their blood has recoiled and aborted all such connections. As such, it can no longer blood bond other kindred, without the rigid structure ordering their clan into rank and value. Some warlocks find themselves competing for anything that might allow them to regain some of their former power. Okay. Yes, I think so. I want to ask Kana, is it possible for me to bring another of ours trapped in the hierarchy? Yes, use your judgment. We are too powerful for them to attack us now. Thank you, you won't regret this. Enough waiting. Agathon tries to break down the door by ramming into it with his shoulder. It's flimsy and breaks with surprisingly little effort. You and Agathon barge into the space and find yourselves... Blood Bowl! Blood Bowl! At the periphery of a candle-lit ritual circle, your eyes are drawn to the wash basin at Juno's feet. Maybe it's your imagination, but it almost feels like the water inside is emitting a wan red light of its own. Almost. It fucking is. Juno, you have to stop. Hand me the notes. Oh, Agathon, you're such an idiot. This is beyond you now. I'll give you one last chance. Come with me, forget Aisling and her power games. Join me and you can become your own man. What? Agathon seems genuinely flabbergasted at the suggestion. Don't listen. Don't listen to her, Agathon. You're loyal to your clan and your grandmother. Juno glances at you annoyed. Why involve her in this? Sylvia is old and soon enough she'll be dead. No reason to miss an opportunity on her account. You see Agathon ball his hands into fists. Juno said the absolute worst thing if she wanted to convince him. You never understood love, Juno. I guess not. Juno sighs. She doesn't look surprised at Agathon's refusal to come with her. I would have felt badly if I hadn't offered you the chance. Come back to the Chantry with me, Juno. Talk to Aisling. You'll see that this is not a good idea. You glance at Agathon with concern. You're no sorcerer, but the idea of fighting Juno in the middle of her ritual circle doesn't seem like a good idea. 2 words. Fuck you. Presents. Yeah, I'm not running into the circle. Presents. Please just give us the notes. We won't stop you from leaving. Juno's shoulders slump. I'm tired of the fight. I'm tired of having to bust my ass for some asshole like Aisling. I want a new life away from all this crap. Juno weighs the folder in her hand. Maybe I should just give this to you. She walks towards you and you put your hand on the folder, but then Juno's eyes brighten with realization. You fucker, you're manipulating me. She slaps your face and you feel as if your insides have suddenly caught fire. You open your mouth but no sound comes out. Oh. Oh, 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 oh. Finally you focus on the feelings of Agathon's hand on your shoulder and you realize you lie sprawled on the floor. Are you alright? Can you speak? The pain is receding, but you feel like shit, hurting all over and barely able to walk. It'll take a lot of blood to mend from this state. Agathon supports you as you walk back. He's smiling. You notice the folder under his arm. She got away, but I have the notes. I'm sorry you got hurt, but it was worth it. Worth it? You tell him a thing or two about your view of the situation, but your tongue is momentarily a lump of charcoal in your mouth. You sit in silence as Agathon drives you back to Manhattan. Traffic in the small hours is mercifully slight. You consider your next words. Did she join Tremere Rebels? Is there even such a thing? There is. It was formed by a woman called Kana. We used to be pretty monolithic, but not anymore. I suppose Juno will be happy with them, if they accept her now that she's failed. You reach the occult bookstore. After Agathon parks the car, you head inside. You climb to the 2nd floor to find Aisling Sturbridge waiting for you. She looks surprisingly casual for someone with such power. You have good news, I hope. Yes, we have the notes. Agathon hands over the folder. Aisling Sturbridge caresses the cover with obvious joy. Wonderful, you did not disappoint. What of Juno? We were not able to stop her. She escaped. Well, no matter, Agathon, you proved yourself yet again, and Lamar looks like the pyramid has a good friend in you. Accept the compliment in silence. Does that mean you owe me? You'll get Juno in the end. I guess this one, because that'll probably upset Agathon. That'll upset her, and this is probably the best option. So, you nod, not saying anything. Agathon looks relieved. You leave the bookstore with praise ringing in your ears. Even the taciturn Agathon manages a smile. Burn after reading. You have no idea what will happen with the notes, but you feel that you have reached an understanding with Agathon. Perhaps that's enough in this world of backstabbing and betrayal that you now inhabit. It's time to sleep again. And I keep yawning, so I think I'm going to stop it here before I really irritate you by just constantly yawning. Oh yes, I remember this side quest, but we have 1, 2, 3 side quests that we can do, so we should probably start doing them, because if we finish all 4 of Tamika's storylines, I'm pretty sure that puts us in, like, end of game mode. So I think the main storyline is basically you making friends, the stuff that happens with Sophie, and you can do all the other stuff in between. So I don't want to waste it all, so I'm going to save. But yeah, I hope you're enjoying this. I hope whatever you're doing, it's great, and that you are absolutely fucking love it, or it's not as bad as you thought. And have a lovely day, evening, weekend. Bye.